Hi everyone and welcome to Deanna and the Written Words. If you're new to this channel, I post videos about books and about language. Today I bring you a little list of things that I got wrong while learning English, so this is going to be a language video. There are lots of things that are difficult about learning a language, and even when you think you have mastered most of it, there's always something that surprises you. And the examples today are things that at some point I assumed to be true and that I learned earlier or later in some cases that was not the case, that my assumption was completely wrong. The first item I have today is actually about Italian, but this is a situation that happened when I was about 5 or 6, and it's what made me think of this idea for a video. So I was at the beach and I was playing with an Italian kid, and we were making a hill of sand. And then at some point, the kid said, "Questa è tua and questa mia." And I thought it meant that this slope is yours and this other slope is mine, because that's how we say it in Spanish. In Spanish, slope is cuesta. So I went to my mom and I was like, "Can you guess how you say cuesta in Italian? It's cuesta as well." And my mom was like, "No, that means this one and that one." So anyway, when I heard something that was familiar to me in Spanish, I immediately thought that it was just the same word in Italian. And based on the context, it was a fair assumption, I guess, but it was completely not the true meaning of the word. This same situation has happened many, many times since I've been living in the UK, and this is what I'm going to talk about today. The first point I have in English today is the distinction between high heels and high heels. Because yes, for about a year, I thought that those things that you put in your shoes to appear taller were high heels. That it was just a phrase that was used in English where people were putting hills, as in mountains, in their feet. And that comes from the fact that in Spanish, we don't really distinguish between shorter and longer vowels. So when I was learning English, to me, it didn't make a big difference to say hills or heels. In fact, I would probably pronounce heels for everything. So somewhere in between, maybe just the E sound of Spanish. So when I first heard it, I didn't know the word heel. And so I thought that people were putting heels in their shoes, and that was a kind of an expression. That took me about a year. My second point in English was running amok and running amok. I personally pronounce it the same. I don't know if that's the real way to say it. But something mucky in English, or muck, is dirt, is filth. And so I thought that running amok was in 2 words. It was written A and then M-U-K, muck. Turns out that running amok, as in being disruptive or being very frantic and destructive even, is nothing to do with muck or mucky. It is a word of Asian origin, so nothing to do. This didn't really result in me misunderstanding any situations. I just thought that amok came from a filth, like you were spreading filth with you when you were being disruptive, as in running amok. My third point today happened for about 9 months or so, and that was the meaning of cashback. So I don't know if you have it in other countries, but in England, probably in the UK, when you pay in certain places, you can pay, say, £10, and then you can get cash back, which means that you actually pay with your card, you pay £30, and then they give you back a £20 note. And it's a really great way to get cash when you don't have a cash machine nearby. Especially they do it in places where they would charge you to pay by card. So you pay by card the first time, but then you get cash for your next drinks or whatever. The situation here was that in some places I would pay and then I would get asked if I wanted cash back. It was like, In my life, I had never had that concept and I didn't know what it meant. But given the situation, I thought that they were asking me if I wanted a receipt. And my last point today is one that I believe to be true till about 3 months back. So that would have been about 8 years of since I first heard this expression until my partner told me actually it's not what you think it is and you shouldn't be using it like this. And this is the expression can't be asked. I just I'm embarrassed just by saying it. So can be asked is comes from us as in bottom, and it means that you really don't want to be doing something. You can't be bothered would be another version of that. I don't really know how you say it in America. So if someone is in the United States or in Canada, let me know how you say that sort of thing. Like you really it's not something you would hate doing, is that you're lazy about it and you really can't be asked. But for the longest time, I thought the actual expression was can't be asked. And that also comes from the fact that in Spanish we don't have the difference between a and ah, whatever. I can't say it without sounding posh, but you know what I mean. And so to me, I was hearing asked every time, as in can't be asked. And therefore, I thought that the expression was fine to say in any context. When actually, because you're talking about your ass, is really not that appropriate if you're in a semi formal environment, if you're in a professional environment, you shouldn't really say that. And I got the completely wrong impression and I was saying it for the longest time. That's all I have today. So let me know in the comments if you've experienced any embarrassing moments when speaking a foreign language or if you've witnessed other poor people making a fool of themselves like I have many, many times. Stay tuned for more.